Hey there, it's Lucas Catton. And today, actually, I was switching it up a little bit and want to talk about some business stuff. And it was interesting. I just had a conversation with one of my partners, and we were talking about employees and how we treat employees in that particular business and our views upon employees as a whole. He's got other businesses that he works in. I've got other businesses that I work in, and we have a combined business together. And it's it was interesting because recently I came across some things where some very successful entrepreneurs had talked about how they treat their employees and how for them that having the best people to work with, people who are better at doing their jobs than the company founders, or people who are smarter than them, or people who are more capable than them, or certainly treating their employees the best and making the employees come first, that then as a result, their customers naturally get treated well. Because if the employees are happy and feel valued and well taken care of and feel like they're important, they're paid well for their positions, they're appreciated, they're not looked down upon and seen as a commodity in themselves, in terms of like it's a thing rather than a person. And I think sometimes for those of us who are business owners, we forget that. We say, "Well, I'm in charge, therefore you do what I say," or "I'm in charge, therefore I should make tons of extra money, regardless of my employees." And I don't see it that way. And my partner in that company doesn't see it that way either. We want to be able to give people a chance and treat them well, and even hopefully overpay them and let them have the opportunity to grow into that and be a really valuable, loyal, long-term team member, rather than making them feel like they have to prove their worth day in and day out to just be there and feel like there's something over their head, or maybe they're held up to some standard and you have to crack the whip to get them to work. If that's how the employees are, then maybe that's not the great business model. If you feel like you have to offload people, or if you feel like you have to really reduce their pay and pay them as little as possible as you can get away with to crunch your bottom line, then that's not going to be a long-term success for a lot of people. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of miserable employees. You might have a company that produces a lot of revenue, but you're not going to have a lot of long-term growth with the people that are there. And I personally feel that the way to grow a company is to have people working with you as part of the team who are bought into the vision, who really are truly bought in for what it is that you're doing. Simon Sinek calls it, the why, like the reason for why you're doing things, and that is so important. What is that really fundamental underlying reason why we're here, and how do you have really fantastic employees that are working with you, whether they're contractors, whether they're part-time, whether they're full-time, whether they're partners in some way or whatever? How are you treating these people and somehow putting themselves first, or putting you let me back that up. How are you putting them first? And sometimes that can be a difficult thing. If you're putting people first and they don't appreciate it, and you're putting yourself second, like you're making your employees the first thing, then I can see how that can develop some resentment at times, if they're not then appreciating that and following through with it in some way. But if you don't take that personally, but you continue to do that and look for people, and they feel valued, they feel heard, they feel like they have input, they feel like they are wanted, and that they're contributing to this overall reason for being there, not just clocking in and out for a paycheck, that they're going to help you achieve the goals that you set out for the company as a whole, because they are bought in. They're really bought into that. And finding people like that sometimes can be difficult, but it doesn't have to be, because if you start with that purpose of, I want this person to be here forever, and I want them to have aspirations to be as high as they can in the company, to earn as much money as they possibly want to have whatever position that, or role that they want to have. If that's how you're going into it, then I feel that is where you're going to naturally start to attract those types of employees that you're looking for. And people who in themselves have been dissatisfied with previous jobs, even if they bounced around from place to place before, if they land on you and feel this as part of your daily operations, they go, wow, this is a wonderful person to work for, a wonderful place to work as a whole, then they want to stick around. And they're going to help you reach those higher goals. They're going to want to help you grow. They're going to want to help you get to that place because they know that you'll be taken care of. I had a conversation with somebody today that was talking about a company that they worked with, and that the person, once they went to eventually sell the company, that some of their employees wound up making way more than they ever thought they could upon the sale because they had given them a percentage of stock. They had earned a portion of ownership of the company, and they never thought that they would ever earn that much money. And there's a lot of tech startups that start off that way too, where people get in on the ground floor. You give them a piece of the company. They're invested in it. They're really wanting to see this vision continue to be carried out. And when that time comes, when they reach that particular tipping point for the next phase in the company, where they either bring in new capitalization, or they're looking for an acquisition, or they're doing something else along that line, or they're opening it up to this huge new market or that kind of thing, then they're also rewarded for it. They're not just given a little bump and raise or a plaque on the wall or a pat on the back. They're also being compensated proportionately to the input and growth that they've had with the company. And so I think that where we've seen difficulty at times is where there's been a tendency to try and squeeze the most out of a person and pay them the least. And that's not a winning business model. So that's my message for today, is to try and treat your employees like they're the most valuable thing you have, not your ideas, not your products, not your services, not even your customers, your employees, because all the rest will be better as a result of that. And you'll make more money as well. Your company will be better. Your culture will be better. And people will just be much more appreciative of everything that they have and everything that they do together. So again, that's it for today. I'm Lucas Catton. Hit me up, lucascatton.com. Check out the podcast, Support for Guys. You can go to Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, Anchor.fm, Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc. Again, I'd love to hear from you, and look forward to talking again soon. Thanks.